Hello, art teachers. Let's talk about how to draw comics. This is a terrific lesson because it is so flexible with different age groups and materials and how much time you want to spend. What I'm going to present is very basic and it can be expanded on in so many ways. This lesson has two main objectives. The first is to get them thinking about sequential art. I do this in elementary with third, fourth, and fifth, and so for the third graders, it can be a step from telling the whole story in one picture to doing it part by part. If you've got older kids, they're probably already going to be familiar with this. The second and more important objective is I want them to think about how they can tell a story using pictures, symbols, and words, and to get them to think about what is going to best serve their purpose. A picture, words, or a symbol, how to simplify for best effect, and when you want to go into detail. This is so easy and inexpensive to teach. All you need is paper. I print out forms for them to draw on, but older students can certainly make their own, pencil and eraser, some coloring tools. And although I do this in elementary, it is perfectly suited for middle school and high school. So when I'm presenting, the first thing I talk about is some basic terms. We talk about the fact that a cartoon is really a broad term. It can mean any simple drawing can be a cartoon, and how that's different from an animated cartoon, which is actually moving. That's what animated means, is that it has motion. So if you watch it on television or your computer and it's moving, that's an animated cartoon. But if it's not moving and it tells a sequential story, panel by panel, that's a comic. And sometimes it can be just 3 or 4 panels, and sometimes it can be an entire book. And if you have older kids, you might even want to get into a discussion of what is the distinction between a comic book and a graphic novel. Now, this is a comic that I drew, and this is what we start with when we talk about interpreting comics. It would be very easy to make your own that incorporates these different elements, or if you want to use mine, just show this and turn off the sound. So I show them this up on the screen, and then we look at it frame by frame. Mrs. Wineland and the Time Machine. So I'll read it. Kids today are terrible. And then I'll ask, okay, what do you think I'm feeling here? And of course they'll giggle because, they're like, somebody's like, you're cussing or bad words. I'm like, exactly. Well, then they're hooked right away because the idea that I've drawn myself using, cuss words is very appealing. So in each one of these frames that I'm going to ask them to interpret, I'm then going to ask, how do you know? So of course they're going to point to, these nonsense symbols over my head. And I'll say, okay, so how did you know that? And we talk about the fact that we already know how to interpret comics, even if we've never been explicitly taught comics, that most of us have just picked it up along the way. And then I'll point out, now, am I saying that out loud or am I thinking that? And they all know that I'm just thinking that. How do you know? Well, because it's a cloud bubble. So what are the children saying? And are they saying that or thinking it? So next screen, again, I read it and I ask them, so, what's happening here? And they'll be able to point out that I have an idea. How do you know? Oh, because the light bulb. Now, have any of you ever had an idea? Did a light bulb come over your head? Rather than writing out, Mrs. Wineland had an idea, we can skip all that writing and just put a light bulb over my head. And that makes it really quick and easy to read. Now, I did write underneath that I built a time machine because I wasn't sure that people would be able to tell that that is a time machine because it just looks like a rocket with a clock on it. So sometimes you have to explain things in writing, and sometimes you can just use a simple picture or a symbol. Oh no, I went too far back. What do you think I'm feeling in this scene? Of course, I'm scared. How do you know? Because my hair's standing on end, and usually I hold my hair up. I said, does your hair really stand up like that when you're scared? No, but you knew what that meant because we know how to read symbols. And do you think I'm whispering here? No, you're shouting. And honestly, it's hard to go through this because the kids are so excited and they just want to talk. So to get through it quickly, I'm always having to, hush. All right, let's, go on to the next one before the dinosaur eats me. I'm still too far back in time. And let me tell you, I was using this demonstration for several years before I noticed that I had spelled two wrong. I'm not going to change it. So I'll say, so I was in dinosaur times before. Where am I now? Oh, caveman times. And so I point at him. What is he thinking? And they'll say, oh, well, he's confused. He doesn't know what's going on. Again, how do you know that? And they'll say, well, his face and the question mark. Exactly. So I'm using the drawing, I'm using the picture of the caveman and his expression, but also I'm adding to that with the question mark. And then, of course, what am I feeling? Too far forward. Where am I now? The future, robot times. And we might talk about how do I feel and am I talking or thinking? And finally, today's students are the best. Now, how do I feel about my students now? Oh, you love us. How can you tell? Because of the hearts. So that was a very simple comic and a very quick and simple review, but they easily get the concept of using the pictures and the words and the symbols together. Then we do a quick review of some symbols that they can use. When someone is shown sleeping, they'll have the Z's. Now, what is this guy feeling? Next, we are going to look at some comics. I start collecting months ahead of time. Every student, or at least every pair of students, to have a full sheet front and back to take a look at. So what we're looking for is I want you to read your comics and see if you can find a speech bubble. Well, that's easy. That's usually the first thing they can find. A thought bubble. And I also want you to look for, do you see anybody snoring or fighting, shouting? Do you see anybody in love? Do you see any action? And then I circulate around the room as they are very excitingly pointing out all sorts of things. At first, I think when they look at it, it seems kind of overwhelming to read, especially the younger ones. But when I point out the things that they're looking for, when they start looking for those Z's or the explosions or someone yelling, it's a real scavenger hunt, and they really enjoy it. So they would go on with that for quite a while, but usually I have to cut them off and say, okay, let's get into it. But you could really use up a whole class period just with this introduction. So now it's your turn. I want you to think up a story, and I want you to write it out on your comics, and I want you to use pictures, words, and symbols. So then I talk about the assignment that they are going to be drawing their own comics, and that I have a variety of papers for them. This is one of the sheets that I have for them. I have two others. The other one has 6 boxes, but no text lines underneath it. And then another one just has the 4 boxes. But I also have blank paper available to them. And some kids like to just draw it out on the blank paper. Some kids like to use a ruler and make their own panels. Certainly, if you have older middle school and high school students, they might want to be making panels of different shapes and sizes, the circular insets and the diagonals. But most of the youngers like to have the boxes already laid out for them. You're going to use a smooth bubble for talking, fluffy bubble for thinking or dreaming, use pointy bubble for loud noises, and you can use a box at the top or the bottom if you want to explain what's happening. And here's another good tip. Write the words before you draw the bubble. Otherwise, you'll draw the bubble and then there won't be enough space to get all the words in. That happens to everybody. And really, you don't even have to draw the bubble if you don't want. If you look at the comics that we handed out, you'll see some people don't use a bubble at all. They just write the words over their head, or sometimes they just use a little line. So then we pass out the paper, and I encourage a 3-step process. Drawing with pencil, then going over it with ink, which we just use a real fine tip Sharpie, and then adding color if you want. For color, I strongly recommend, for this age group, colored pencil, because crayon is not fine enough and markers bleed through and they overwhelm the pencil drawings. In reality, though, most of my kids either do the whole thing in pencil or they'll do the whole thing in the Sharpie marker. Even though I say you won't be able to erase, they just love getting their hands on that, that super fine point black ink. And most of them end up not coloring it, because rather than making a full finished, colored in finished product, they're really more interested in just doing more and more and continuing their story, and they don't have the patience to go back over and put on those finishing touches. But again, I'm elementary. You can expect more of a finished product from your older students. If you're working with high school students, you might want to explore the actual materials that professional cartoonists use, illustration board, India ink. Discuss the fact that the original illustrations by professional cartoonists are usually much larger than they are printed. In the case of the elementary, we're sort of making them the same size, but by working larger, professional cartoonists are able to do much more sophisticated and detailed work. Or if you have the technology, writing comics is a great assignment for a digital art class. And again, talking about how professional cartoonists, graphic novelists, comic book authors are using newer digital technology. And here are some of my friends at work. Now, one of the biggest challenges for the young people is ideation, coming up with a story. And so what I recommend is just making a simple story about themselves and their family life. I say, do you have brothers and sisters? Do your brothers and sisters do anything that drives you crazy? That's a good place to start. Sometimes I throw out some other ideas as well, but usually the brothers and sisters idea will get them going. So based on that recommendation, this is what my friend Victoria did this year. So she explained to me, here she is up in her bunk bed, and her baby sister is getting into her dresser, messing with her stuff. So she picks her up to get her out of her stuff, and of course the baby starts crying, "Mama, Mama." And Victoria is like, "Stop it." And then, of course, as always happens, the mom comes in and it's Victoria that gets in trouble, not the baby that was getting into the stuff. So Victoria shows that mom has thrown her slipper at her and knocked her out, and the baby's saying, "Ha ha." And I think this is just such a perfect story for a 9-year-old to tell. And as simple as it is, you can see how she's done exactly what I asked. You can read the emotions, you can identify the furniture, you can see the action, that little dotted line of the slipper being thrown, and the little ouch and ha-ha punchlines. This one made me laugh out loud. Honestly, I don't know what's going on in all these stories, although I'm sure they told me in great detail. One thing I do appreciate, and I see this often in kids' work, is you can see in the one that they've got the red and blue guns, the student has made the point to write that it is laser tag. They want to draw the guns, but they don't want to get in trouble for it. But really, it's not necessary for me to understand everything that's going on in their comic. The main thing I'm looking for is engagement, the flow of the story from panel to panel, and that integration of pictures, words, and symbols. And I think they did a terrific job this year. So hopefully you can use that as a jumping off point for your own comics lessons. It's something that the boys especially really seem to enjoy. I'm Heidi Howe. I got a whole channel full of ideas, demos, curriculum. If this was useful to you, maybe some of the others will be as well.